Wisdom Whisperer, hi Divine Feminista. I'm so excited that you're here today because we're going to dive in with some deep divine feminine energy healing codes. What I'm actually going to share is a combination of what you can do to heal divine feminine pain. We'll understand really what it is and even significantly where does divine feminine pain come from. So my intention is that you feel whole, a little bit more whole and healed and clear about what to do on your divine feminine awakening path, maybe your twin flame path, because a lot of you are here for both things. I'm Dr. Amanda Noel. I've been dropping videos on YouTube for about a decade now on topics such as twin flames, divine feminine, energy healing, anything in the divine feminine mystery arts, healing of the chakras, healing past lives, working with the elements. Oh my gosh, there's so much. But mainly you're here because you're ready to heal yourself. So I'm thrilled. And possibly you're even here because you're ready to call in your twin flame or your ultimate soulmate. And I'm double thrilled about that as well. All right, so what is the divine feminine? What is divine feminine energy? Divine feminine is inseparable with the divine masculine. It's the universal life force energy that flows through all of us. It's the creator, it's the God, goddess energies. We're microcosms of this energy. The divine feminine is associated with cool, slower, stiller, more internal, more life-giving, child-rearing, mothering, maternal, caring, intuitive, so many different ways to explain it. Water versus masculine fire, deep, internal meditation, mystical, magical, like how do we create life? We can try and emulate it with science, but the divine feminine is that bearer of secrets, the bearer of the water. So there's so much more I could go into, but divine feminine energy is its counterpart of the divine masculine, is the counterpart of the divine masculine. We have both. So what is the divine feminine in terms of divine feminine pain? Well, first we have to understand divine feminine. So it's mysterious, it's powerful, it resides in all of us. So whether you're male, female, like I said, the divine feminine represents this nurturing energy, but unfortunately, because we've gone through many generations of persecution against the divine feminine, many of us have suffered and hold these deep wounds, traumas, and some of us have even some of us who are coming from lineages where the feminine was once very empowered and active, where maybe we were high priestesses in past generations or even lifetimes. We're coming into this energy and it's like, oh, it's so painful because we have both the memory of our power and our wisdom, and we're also hitting up against the resistance. But the divine feminine is rising, so we feel both the resistance and we feel the light coming through, and that it's time to come out and that it's safe to come out. Ish. And that we have to face those fears as well, right? So here are the 7 symptoms of divine feminine pain. So divine feminine pain is different than divine masculine pain. It's really kind of connected to our witch wounds, our womb wounds, our fear of being woman, a fear of being female, a fear of being vulnerable. Vulnerability and emotions and intuition are all aspects of the feminine. So if you're an intuitive healer, whether you're male or female, that's a divine feminine wound. Our intuition, our gut feeling, our clairvoyant skills, these have been blocked out and bad listed by different religions and political rules for thousands of years, so that we were considered heretics. We were burnt at the stake as witches. And so really what I'm talking about when it's the symptoms of divine feminine pain, it's going to be different than divine masculine pain. And these are the symptoms that you might be feeling if you have these wounds. One is a feeling of sadness, anxiety, and depression that maybe has persisted over your lifetime, or it pops up in your divine feminine awakening path, and it's like, whoa, I didn't know I was feeling this sad or down. This often in my clients was stimulated for the first time when she went through a big heartbreak, because there's a connection to the heart and the womb. And so go-getting powerful woman might be just like skiing through life, downhill ski, it's great, she's pushing, she's going, she's a smart cookie, and then she goes through this heartbreak. Maybe it's not even her first husband or first relationship, but there's this like deep, what I would say, vibration of a twin flame connection. Maybe it's a twin flame counterfeit. Maybe it's the real deal. It doesn't matter. But she finds someone that's like, wow, this is my soulmate of soulmates. This is the love I've always been looking for. And then it doesn't work out. And then the depression comes in. And so this is part of the divine feminine awakening process. It's very normal. Number 2, a sense of disconnection from oneself or others. So oftentimes, this is because in past lives we were outcasted by society. We were hung, we were murdered. They used to require a witch to be burnt in front of the whole town. And if you didn't come to watch your friend getting burned, and she was doing nothing wrong except for maybe she liked herbs, or she liked meditation, or she was just judged for being weird or woo-woo, or maybe she was a full-on mystic who was creating magic. But if they didn't go and watch the satanic witch burning, then they were considered a heretic too. Why weren't you there? We need to really have judgment day for you. And so women, there are these lakes in the world where many skeletons of women are buried because they did these tasks of sink or swim. If you sink, great, you're going to heaven. Woo, hallelujah. If you swim, you're a witch, and then you're going to the flames of death. So a lot of women wasn't really good to swim. Supposedly it was evil, and women who swim were witches. So we can feel very alone because the epigenetic patterning and all this torture and trauma caused us to either stand together in a lie and say, I out with that witch, or we stood in our own truth, which we all have our own truth, whether we chose to live it that lifetime or not. And so the truth in us is often feeling lonely, which is why you can go out and socialize with a bunch of people who are asleep, drinking their way to sleep, talking their way to sleep, small talking, burying their heads in the sand, worrying more about what their Lululemon butt looks like versus actually getting into the meditation and healing. Even here in Bali, it's like a meditation mecca, and people will be getting so much Botox and inserting these products in their face, focusing more on how they look, doing their yoga and smoking after even, than they are on actually healing the generational trauma within them and stepping into their hearts. And, I have a little bit of judgment because I was that person too, that was trying to do it all, heal myself, and also deny it all. It is a phase. It's where we're not quite fully there yet. But difficulty really socializing as who we are, feeling connected with society as who we are, that's because we were outcasted from society. And the people that survived the longest were the Swedes. They survived the witch hunts of the Catholic Church last, and they had penis statues, sacred sexuality, lingams, and things that are still there today in my family church in Sweden. My mom went back there about 10 years ago, and there's still these remnants of the honor of sacred sexuality, the honor of the goddess, the honor of the pagan pre-Christian values that were spread across Europe, across the world, and at different times. But then this Middle Eastern wave of suppression of the feminine came through and exchanged with Christianity. They shook hands, made a deal, and said, look, our new Christianity, instead of doing it Christ's way, we'll do it in a more disciplinarian, dogmatic, one that works really well with the patriarchal politicians and the wealth. And so we'll go more into why we have divine feminine pain. I'm just so passionate, so I'm going to just reel it back in. And I'll talk about my own experience. I grew up feeling very different, very disconnected from others. In kindergarten class, I had, maybe a little handful of friends, and I was always looking for the new friends. And I had such a hard time really feeling connected. I felt like I was from a different planet. And it wasn't until I realized that part of my suffering was because I had been a powerful priestess in past lives, and I had a lineage of ancient origins. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in other videos, maybe in the future. But it was terrifying for me to be myself and feel worthy of love because I had been murdered in past lives. In my lineage, there was epigenetic residue of, if people see you for who you are, it means that they see that you're a witch, a whore, that you've been sentenced to death, that you were bad. And that got me in really huge trouble that lifetime, and it almost bled through into this lifetime where I got in a big painful breakup with my former boyfriend, my false twin flame, where a similar situation played out, where I was put on trial in a very painful, humiliating way for something that really wasn't a big big bad deal at all, something that was a small mistake that I made, that almost everybody in my community was doing. So we can have these bleed throughs of our past lives. We can have bleed throughs coming in from transgenerational trauma. It can be in our epigenetics. And there's this wounding of the divine feminine, especially for those of you who have priestess DNA or memories as powerful women, or who have mystical gifts and skills. These have been outlawed by our governments in past lives, and we're not going down that direction anymore. As the divine feminine rises, we're not just surrendering all of the magic to AI, we're actually stepping into our priestess gifts, and we are healing our wounds. So, okay, 3, difficulty finding meaning and purpose in life. If we're in denial about our divine femininity because it's in pain, because it's been hurt, it's been wounded for lifetimes, it's connected to who we are as a soul, and therefore a soul purpose. And a lot of women go back and forth, and they're switching careers, or they're like going back and forth. I want to leave my job, and I want to be a healer, and I want to do this, and then better go back to what's safe because of that divine feminine pain bleeding through from previous generations' lifetimes. 4 is chronic health issues or stress-related issues. A lot of women have autoimmune issues, adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalances, weight gain, a lot of eating disorder, binge eating, starvation, because of the lack of feeling safe, because of the persecution of the divine feminine. It could be your family survived a traumatic incident that was done to disenfranchise the feminine. A war was put against them, a religious war. And a lot of this is just a dark persecution, the dark control masculine's persecution over the little guy or gal. And so it's happening in so many different levels. It's happening in wartime. It's happening in violence against the earth with the plastics in the ocean. And it's happening in the crazy levels of stress that women are holding. So, okay, I'm going to go through these fast. I could do like hours and hours, guys, and I know my videos are already really long, so I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to go through a little bit less. So thank you. Disempowerment and lack of control over one's life. That's the masculine, is having control. The feminine is flow. And so if she's not empowered in her feminine, she will be out of flow and feel a lack of control around that. 6 is difficulty in expressing emotions authentically or feeling heard, since emotions are a feminine aspect. 7 is feelings of guilt, shame, or unworthiness that are hard to shake off. She's probably disconnected from her intuition and her emotions, and therefore is stuck in this place of not good enoughness, of fear, anxiety, doubt. So that's the dark feminine versus really being in our divine feminine. The divine feminine pain can be debilitating and isolating. It can cause really serious problems, physical, mental, emotional distress with women, as well as our counterparts, men. In my divine feminine awakening, the most painful time was all of it. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was going a little nuts because of not being able to eat and sleep, and in my emotional space. And after I healed from that, I went on this renaissance of divine feminine healing and up-leveling, and my life got so much better, and there was so much more clarity, but it was like a massive gash had to come into my body so I could excavate a deep trauma cyst inside of me. And there are healthy ways to heal this, so it doesn't have to be so hard. There are ways to heal this pain by reconnecting with the divine feminine, the energy within us and within the earth and within the universe, and allow it to guide us towards that self-love, self-acceptance, and our healed, empowered wholeness. We may not be able to remember it, but there was once a time, the epic, when the goddess was worshipped, and it was epic. And the divine feminine was actually considered sacred, not scared. She wasn't scared and shameful. Ancient societies saw women as the givers of life and recognized their power, our importance of having our female temple body there was the worship of the goddess, and it was widespread throughout the world. There were these figurines, goddess statues, curvy, big women. And women held positions of power, royalty, and influence politically, spiritually, religiously, educationally. Like, all the systems had a powerful female influence. And I believe in a healthy society, there's a balance of both. Maybe 50%, 51% feminine and 49% masculine, just because if one goes dark, it's better to have dark feminine than dark masculine, I personally think, because the dark masculine control can just want to control everyone and lock us all down. But basically, we were living in societies that had goddess statues, and these were buried and lost and even hidden from us, but they're starting to find out. So what happened? When was this fall? Why was there this fall of the feminine? So it happened both kind of 10,000 years ago, the fall of Atlantis, the Great Deluge. We lost a lot of records, but those records were put into sacred or safe places, also perhaps sacred temples, and hid or safely carried forward for humanity to keep the records. But then around 2,000 years ago, after the birth and death of Christ, we find that there was this really huge drop in the divine feminine and a rise in the patriarchy. There are many theories about this. One theory says that there was a shift into the patriarchy as a result of a combination of things like agricultural developments, rise of city-states, the influence of male-dominated religions. These led to social shift where men became the dominant force in governing and controlling both public and private life. There's another theory, is that the decline of the goddess happened because of the suppression of women's roles in society. We were marginalized. And as patriarchal societies emerged, women were pushed to the fringes of society and never quite got our power and influence back. I love this book. It was one of my Divine Feminine Awakening first reads. Merlin Stone's book, When God Was a Woman. It's a great read. I highly recommend it if you are on a priestess path, here to rise the divine feminine and align with your twin flame, or arise and heal with the divine masculine. So she argues that the fall of the divine feminine was the result of patriarchal societies and religions suppressing the worship and reverence of goddesses and feminine deities. She says that there was a shift from male-centered into male-centered religions and societies that happened after we'd been a long time in the matriarchal female deity world, that then led to the suppression of women's spirituality, power, rights, and resulted in significant harm to women throughout history. And basically that's where we're still coming out of healing. So the fall of the divine feminine may have been certain groups, according to Stone, certain patriarchal societies came in with a clear intention to behead the goddess, to suppress the goddess, to girdle the goddess, to put on a chalice. What is it called? Not a chalice. Chastity vest. To put on a chastity belt on her sacred chalice. To suppress her voice. To put a noose on her. To burn her at the stake. And I believe that there was a clear intention to do that, personally, from my psychic research. But whatever you believe about why was there divine feminine fall, why do we live in a patriarchal world that's just starting to heal in parts of the world? You know, I'm living in Indonesia, where women still don't have the balance and rights and equity and finances as men do, and things are shifting rapidly, but we're still not there yet. And even in my other route is America, where I'm from, women are getting diseases because we have so much stress, because we're expected to behave and be like a man, and we still haven't adapted. How do we handle all these chemicals in our bodies? We have 5 times as many hormones. How do we not have to have hysterectomies and whatever breastectomies are called, and have positions of power and work in this man's created world that's been in order for the last at least 2,000, if not more, years? Either way, the fall of the feminine represents a loss of balance that's impacting us today, that's creating this divine feminine pain in you today, in me today. One that needs to be restored today to heal Gaia and to secure the safety of our children, and the well-being of Earth and humanity. Yet another theory that says that Okay. I personally believe that as we heal ourselves, the male dominated leaders will become divine feminine balanced leaders. That's really the truth in me. We can all have anger and want to point fingers, but really it comes down to ourselves. The ascension path is an inside job. But I will have to say that in history, we all can sort of not remember, but we can blame a time where there's this major fall in the divine feminine. And the reason I want to point this out just really briefly is that your pain as a divine feminista, as a woman, or as a holder of the divine feminine, your pain is a collective pain that's felt and experienced through you individually, but it's something all of us mystics and us divine feminine light bearers, love bearers, have been holding inside. And a major turning point that you might remember as a soul is the fall of divine feminine, tragic burning of the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. This was one of the most significant hiding places and holding places after the floods of Atlantis. Sacred texts were held there, and as there was more witch hunting against the divine feminine, secret texts were housed underground and kept in secret. And it is said that they were taken underneath the Vatican for safekeeping for them. And perhaps someday we will see them. That's my prayer and hope. But it housed countless precious manuscripts of our true history, of our true science, of our true mathematics, of our true quantum physics, of true mysticism. And we've been living in this lie. And when you live in a lie, if people are lying to you, the results that we get are lying to ourselves and lying to each other, and we're living in a lie. So divine feminine pain is saying, hello, you're living in a lie. Something's not true. Something's not in alignment. So this magnificent library is burned down during Caesar's rule, who wanted to bring in this masculine patriarchal energy, 48 BC, and then a couple hundred years later, Constantine took over the Roman Catholic Church, took away the Essene mystical, divine feminine mystery school teachings, and both of all of these mystery schools, all of these traditions, these oral traditions, and even libraries and universities, this flourishing divine feminine awakened society got burnt to the stake. It was a great loss to our humanity. And the burning was an attempt to erase the knowledge of the past. This is what I believe, including the divine feminine ancient secrets, mysteries that we're waking up to today. We're remembering today. We're channeling today. We're talking about today. And that's why my channel is coming through a renaissance, and why it's such a vulnerable experience, because I have been afraid to go full out and talk about what I love, which is all aspects of the divine feminine. It hasn't been popular. If I do a twin flame video, it's going to be more popular, although now it's so saturated in the twin flame world because every woman was programmed to want a knight in shining armor. But this topic is huge, and I'm so grateful for you for watching and listening and hearing what I have to say. And I would love to hear what you have to say about the divine feminine rise, and please post in the comments below. I'm so honored to those of you women and men who are supporting our women, or he, she, they, all of you who are here, because it says that you're taking time in your busy day, and maybe you have a high profile job and you're deciding to take that time, or maybe you've turned down a mainstream societal path to really invest in this deep healing work. And it's so important, and it's so sacred, and the divine feminine is with you. So divine feminine healing, what is it? How do we heal this divine feminine pain? So I'm going to break it down into 11 ways to heal the divine feminine. 1, the first way to heal your divine feminine and to get out of divine feminine pain is to connect with your body temple, your womb temple, through dance, embodiment, yoga, movement practices, because the masculine is too in his head. And when we come alive in the body, it's a thawing, a defrosting of these ancient feminine waters. And it moves toxins, the sweat moves it through. Yes, we can go to the gym. I used to be a fitness trainer, and I would get really ripped and teach my clients how to lose weight and get ripped, but it was very heady, very structured, and it contributed to back pain to migraine pain to hormone imbalances, but I looked hot. I had like whatever the lowest percentage body weight, not body fat in women, and I was kind of cut and still got the leftover muscle memory from it. But now I spend my mornings dancing and doing embodiment practices, yoga, womb wisdom movement. And that is what has contributed to reducing migraines that I experienced for 20 years due to a botched wisdom tooth. They took away my wisdom teeth that I really kind of could have used. Didn't need to throw out. And it's helped me massively to heal my body and to keep sane and grounded and pleasurable. So start your morning with exercise, such as the above. 2, surround yourself with nature elements. Are you in a city living in a beautiful luxury box and yet you find yourself really depressed? We were watching, my husband and I were watching the recent Love is Blind drop because we love doing market research on the collective, what they see and do in their love lives. Number 1 Netflix show, if you haven't seen Love is Blind, reality TV show. It's deep, it's goofy, it's shallow, it's kind of everything. But there was like no nature in people's apartment living in Seattle. And I've seen that as the trend in most of their shows, where everybody's living in this like simple luxury apartment. And like, where is the nature? I just feel like if we're going to be healing the planet, either we need to make our cities more green and put hanging leaves all around the sides of the buildings and have trees and like indoor gardens and vertical gardens, on every balcony. But it feels like right now, those of us divine feministas, those of us who are really on awakening paths will need to live near nature or need to get out to nature pretty regularly. I have found that the depression that comes to me at times lifts when I go out into nature. And when I'm not in nature and breathing fresh air and connecting with Mother Nature, my roots, my physical roots, and I'm just in this man-made plastic world, doesn't feel good. Which is why, and before I go, I'll show you a view of our backyard. It's so beautiful, so green. We moved to the rice fields here in Bali. Behind us is a river and a jungle, and it's just like, so nice. Number 3, to release emotions and connect with your inner self. So releasing is emoting. When I say release emotions, it means express them, feel them, talk about them, punch them into pillows, dance them. But a lot of times we're sitting in our rational chairs, living in our rational jobs, living in our heady lives, and we just rationalize away our actual feelings. So the divine feminine feel to heal. Feel and have conversations with your inner self. Journal. Just open a journaling app. There's some really great ones. I should share the one I use. I don't even remember the name. It's Pink Journal. And I just like press the voice, translate button or whatever it's called, text to speech or speech to text. And I'll just be like, here's what I feel right now, free flow. And I'll see it written down. And it's like so healing. Just get it out. You don't need to energetically dump on your husband if you're not sure how you feel yet. You can do it into your app. You can write your journal. You can dance it. You can sing it. So important. Take part in rituals or ceremonies that honor the divine feminine. If you're not going to at least once a month, a new moon, full moon ceremony, I would probably consider start that. It's so helpful and healing for the hormones, for the moon cycles are connected to our moon menstrual cycles, or if you've been through menopause, you still are connected to this energy of the moon. And it's important to honor it and become aware of how our bodies feel around the moon cycles to gather with sisters. So that's why I would love to invite you, since you're here. We met through YouTube. How random. How cool would it be to have you and meet in person at a Zoom 2D, but to come together in live time and connect and talk about the divine feminine as we do this amazing sacred ritual. So it's going to be happening in just a few more days. Click the link below. This one's going to be tiny for some reason after having tens of thousands of followers and fans and like lots of momentum in my blissness. Really, as I've honed into the divine feminine even deeper, healed myself, let go of this weird masculine energy that I didn't even realize that I was operating from. And as a blissness woman, as a businesswoman, I have to say, as I'm going through my divine feminine awakening and have more to offer and share and connect in with. It's been funny. Like the numbers of people who have been showing up is much smaller, but I think that's a good thing because it will mean that whoever comes is really a similar vibration and we can co-create more. So come to this ritual. It's only $22. Click the link below. It's going to be an hour and 15 minutes, really deep dive. You'll get, for this one, it's a twin flame, divine feminine, divine masculine balancing activation. You'll get a rose cacao recipe. And if you sign up for this one, I'm going to bonus you that you become part of our divine feminine mastermind. So click the link below and the coupon code 777portal, P-O-R-T-A-L, all lowercase portal, 777 portal, you'll get 50% off. So making it only $22 or maybe even cheaper. Anyways, I forget the numbers. But 5, connect with other women through women's circles, sisterhood gatherings, or support groups. Connect with other women. It's so healing. I couldn't have healed myself if I did it alone. And not just one sister tight, because that can just replay the mother-daughter codependent wound. It's got to be a circle, and that brings us back into the ancient sister circles that we used to come through and come to during the new moon, and come through during births and during women's healing initiations, women's bleedings, the red tents, the woman's first bleed when she became a woman. It brings us back to this ancient memory that's very subconscious, but when you come back to, you're like, hell yeah, heaven, yeah, baby, I love it. So partner up with your sisters, bring your women's circles together, collaborate, play, have fun. It's going to be awesome. You are a special crystal, and each of us is so unique. So one of the best things to heal yourself as a divine feminine is to honor your uniqueness. Love yourself, cherish yourself. And number 6, let's do the last 6 through 11 ways to heal the divine feminine. Right, quick, practice self-care. Like I just did, was it this morning or last night? I don't know. I did the most beautiful bath. It was amazing with salts and the view and candles and frankincense and essential oils all sprinkled into the tub, music, and my husband came in. He's like, what's going on out here? And then our daughter came in and she's like, what's going on out here? Like, okay, I was kind of doing some self-care, but it was amazing. So it's very attractive when we have our self-care. We're very radiant as goddesses. And if you are suffering from all the symptoms that I said before, that's the top priority. That is a top, it's a must. 7 is learn about the history of the goddess, the archetypes, even the persecution of the goddess, so we can contextualize and understand what happened. It's just like those who have ancestors that were slaves, understanding their histories, doing the research helps us heal. We don't want to just get stuck in the sad stories that are really, truly sad. We want to send love, light, forgiveness, and like, here's the present chapter and here's where we'd like to go. So focusing on the positive as much, if not more, than the past pain. 9, honor your menstrual cycle and the power your period holds. You can have an app such as Clue, just so you can really like see where it's gone and the rhythms, but also doing something like a painting, taking your blood and adding that to just a little bit of water, mixing it and making a watercolor. And you could even print out a mandala and paint like a coloring book, like the cool coloring pages. You can print that out and paint it in there if you're not such an artist. It's still really healing to paint with your own moon blood. I have to do a whole video about how to honor your menstrual cycles. Oh my God, I'm so excited. 10, explore your sensuality with a partner through self-exploration. Honor that goddess, baby, and have your partner honor you, and honor the goddess in each other, your divine feminine energy mirrored in your man or woman. It's hot and juicy. 11, embrace feminine qualities such as intuition, nurturing, and empathy. Are you making all the decisions in your life, your job, what people think of you based on your brain? Or are you like, wow, I just feel intuitively good wearing this outfit. I feel intuitively good hanging out with this person. I'm gonna choose my life based on how it nourishes me. So maybe like hanging out with people that nurture me, that nourish my soul. I'm going to eat food that nurtures and nourishes my soul and my body, my mind, not just packing in crap that's no good. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Gaias, I would love to invite you to this Twin Flame Sacred Love Full Moon Activation. It is happening on the full moon live. I don't have the date right in front of me, but it's happening this week. I think it's my Thursday or your Thursday if you're in the US. And the 5th. So anyways, click the link below and sign up for this activation. If you can't make it live, we will send you the replay. It's so high value. We're going to pack in an incredible mystical activation that will up level your heart, your love, and it's done with sacred cacao. So you'll get the complimentary recipe sent to your inbox that will activate. It's a recipe with raw cacao, rose, and a few other little ingredients that will help you to heal and open your heart as well as your third eye, so you can have an amazing meditation, plant medicine guided journey with us. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Lots of love. Namaste and namasko. Bye for now.